Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bryndís. Sorry, Emma is being annoying as always, because that's what she does. Yes, so welcome. Why am I here? Yes, let me give you my weekly reading update. I'm a little bit late, but I think that's what you can expect for the next few weeks, as I'm now on my summer break and just kind of filming whenever I feel like, not laying on the couch like a bum, basically. But this week I finished 2 books, and I mentioned one of them. I think I had started it last week. So it's A Simple Story by Elizabeth Inchbald. So this is a Regency or early Regency, or like depending on when you like measure the Regency era in the UK, but it was published in the 1790s. And it's a romance, I suppose, in that it's about a young woman who, is in love, is being pressured to get married and find a husband and all those things, as things were and probably still are many places. And this book was not good. It wasn't horrible, but obviously I've read Jane Austen like from here to like 1,000 times. Frances Burney. Oh my God, what is her name? Let me check. I keep saying Burnett, but that's not her name. Frances Burney. Yes, that's what I thought. She as well. She was kind of writing at the same time as Elizabeth Inchbald. They are basically like, I think they were born like a year apart or something. So they were like contemporaries, a little bit earlier than Jane Austen. But they were like are one of the authors. Elizabeth Inchbald is one of the authors that has really influenced Jane Austen's writing. I know this because I'm about to start to read the Austen bookshelf, Jane Austen's bookshelf by Rebecca Romney, and Elizabeth Inchbald is one of the authors that she's talking about here. But like, having read Frances Burney, having read even like some of the male authors from that period, and just having read Jane Austen, and then later on like Elizabeth Gaskell, the Brontes, and even like Charles Dickens and Anthony Trollope. Elizabeth Inchbald, I feel, does not quite, at least this book does not quite live up to that, all of that. No, it was not a good book. I just thought that the story was fine, like it, a very typical story for the books like these. But the thing that I actually did like about this book, really liked, was the time jump. In that, so without giving spoilers, I think this is just kind of, if you're reading a book like this, you're gonna know that's what's gonna happen. Is that there's a young woman and in need of a husband, basically, and truth universally acknowledged. That a young woman is in need of a husband, and that a man of fortune is in need of a wife. So those things were all happening there. But after all of that had happened, there's a time jump. So we jump like, I think, 15 years into the future, which was very interesting, because one of the things that I kind of sometimes get annoyed with in romances is, especially contemporary romances, is this notion of happily ever after. Just get married and things will be fine. Like, I can understand that back in the day when having a good husband, or at least a husband that provided for you and didn't like abuse you, was like highly preferable to being a spinster, just because of just the amount of kind of financial stability, but also having a man to protect you, because apparently men have always been apes. And so I can understand that getting married is probably going to be happily ever after, even if the marriage isn't happy, because it's a preferred state over not being married, or used to be like that. But Emma disagrees heartily as a spinster. It's much better being free and happy and not having to deal with the male species. Yeah. Okay. Are you done, Emma? I don't know if you can hear that crying of hers. But anyway, so, but in this book, there's a time jump, and we see what happened to the marriage, or, and I thought that was really interesting. But the character development was just absolutely bad. All the characters were just on the surface level through the entire book. I had absolutely no, I don't know, I had no like real sympathy for any of them except one of the characters who was introduced in the second part of the book. I mean, they were just, and it was just so ridiculous, like I hate you, and then someone said something, oh, I know, okay, I love you. It was just, yeah, it was not good. I think the only reason I just kind of finished this book was, first of all, I was got curious when I was just like, oh my God, what is this? But then the book, when I was like thinking, okay, this is like, I don't want to read this book. Like I have like 5 hours left of the audiobook, and like, okay, they are, and like, but then that changed, and we time jumped. So that kind of made it again a little bit interesting. Ja, konnte det. And but I think the other reason for why I actually just kept listening to it was that it was narrated by Juliet Stevenson, who is one of the finest, best, most fantastic narrator of classics, at least. But yeah, this was not a good book. I have no idea what to give it. Like 3 stars, but 3 stars is not necessarily terrible. 2 stars, I'm probably gonna give it 2 stars, to be honest. Emma, seriously. And okay, I need to take care of this cat for a second. I have this here to distract her. Oh my God, this cat. It's like, she is like, I'm trying to tell her that she's like 18 and geriatric, but she doesn't care about that. Anyway, so this book, yeah, probably can end up with 2 stars. I don't know, maybe 3 stars, because I did finish it, and it wasn't. But anyway, I finished A Simple Story, and it did not make me want to read more by Elizabeth Inchbald. But I need to write. I'm gonna read, when I'm reading this book and I read her chapter. Maybe she will change my mind. And also, if you've read other books by her, if there are any other books by her like out there, please let me know. And maybe, obviously, I can Google it as well. But tell me what you think. But anyway, this was kind of part of Jane Austen July, because one of the prompts there is to read a book by a Jane Austen contemporary, or around her time at least. So that's what I did. It wasn't the book I'd planned to read. I had planned to read Romance in the Forest by Anne Radcliffe, was it? I think by Anne Radcliffe. It's a Romancing in the Forest. So I might still read that as well, but we'll see. But anyway, at least I have one book now down. Well, I actually have two books down for Jane Austen July, because after reading that book, or finishing it, I was just like, I need to read quality literature. And so I read this one. This is the group read for Jane Austen July this year. And I know that the group is like, there's like, people are like reading it slowly throughout the month. I read this book in 2 days. I think it's like 16 hours, and I read it in 2 days. I listened to it as an audiobook, again narrated by Juliet Stevenson. It was just pure bliss. I laid the entire weekend when I was laying on the couch, laid in bed, laying in the sun, or walking. I was listening to this book. It is one of my favorite Jane Austens. I know that I think I'm in the minority of that with that. I love Fanny Price. I know that she's sometimes a little bit holier than that, but I think she really resonates with me, because myself, I was such a timid, shy child and teenager. So I feel like I would have been like her. I was also sent off to my uncle, uncle and her husband, her wife, his wife. Oh my God, my uncle and his wife took me in for a few months when my mom was having my younger brother, when I was like a baby, tiny, like I was 20 months when my brother was born, and I went and I spent a few months with my uncle. They didn't have children, and obviously I came back home with my parents, but I feel that if I would have been older and when that happened, I probably would have been just like Jane, like Fanny Price. Although my family is much more loving than this family seems to have been. But yeah, so like here, and so Fanny Price has a special place in my heart, and I really love this story. I really think that it's fun, and it's quite serious, and it's very sometimes quite brutal, the treatment of Fanny by people, but I don't know. I liked it, and I thought that her her virtue, or her following the rules, was very much consistent with her as a rather timid person. So I love that. I love it. I do know. Did notice there that in Jane, and I actually think that thinking about Jane Austen's book, because I've read all of them more than once, that during this time, I don't know if it's just Jane Austen or if it was just the time period, that it's very interesting to me as someone who is critical of romances, is that people seem to be confusing, or that is Jane Austen and those people seem to be confusing her characters, and they seem to be confusing gratitude with love. So Fanny was really grateful to Edmund because he was basically the only one who was really kind to her. And so she was completely in love with him because he was kind to her. And this is also like, just in Pride and Prejudice, right? Elizabeth becomes like, oh my God, Mr. Darcy, after he had like rescued Kitty, saved like, not Kitty, Lydia. That's gratitude, that's not love, but I don't know. Don't kill me by saying, because I said that. But anyway, I read Mansfield Park, finished it, I loved it, 5 stars, 1,000 stars, the perfect book, as are all of Jane Austen's books, in my opinion. So those are the 2 books that I finished this week, and night and day, black and white, like, but I'm really happy that I decided to go ahead and read Mansfield Park immediately, because it kind of made me happy again, because I wasn't really happy after the other book. But reading Jane Austen also made me so happy that I am now reading Persuasion. I wasn't going to read any more of Jane Austen this year because I read all of six of the novels 2 years ago. And last year, I think I read Emma last year, if I remember correctly. And I don't want to read them in too quick, like, because I don't want to like ever have the danger of being tired of them. That would be just horrible. But I think I'm gonna finish Persuasion and then probably no more of Jane Austen this year. But we'll see. Maybe I won't be able to stop myself. So then the other books that I want to read, or that I haven't started either one of them, but I wanted to start to read Night Shift, but I didn't. Emma! I didn't. But it's still like on my bedside table there, and I will get to it, I'm sure. But the other book I think I'm pretty sure I'm going to start this week is Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney. So this is a book about the women writers who shaped the legend. All the books, like the books that were on Jane Austen's bookshelf, what she read and what influenced her. But these are all only women writers. Because I know that she also read like Sir Walter Scott. She read, and of course, yeah, I can't remember now. Everything is obviously leaves my brain. But there are like Frances Burney, Anne Radcliffe, Charlotte Lennox, Hannah More, Charlotte Smith, Elizabeth Inchbald, Hester Lynch Thrale Piozzi, and Mary Edgeworth. I had not heard of any of these other than Frances Burney. And then, of course, Anne Radcliffe and Maria Edgeworth. But I only knew about them because they are actually mentioned in some of Jane Austen's books. So I really look forward to reading more about them and learning more about their kind of life and their kind of books and stuff like that. And I think then at some point I would like to read books by every one of them. I did read an Anne Radcliffe last year or the year before. Can't remember what book that was. I think maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken. But yeah, I would definitely like to read from all of these women at some point. So those are the kind of books that I have on the go at the moment, or like I'm gonna start having on the go. Plus, obviously, Persuasion. I will probably be like it will not take me a long time to read Persuasion. I started it last night, and then we'll see what I get up to after that. Like I said in the beginning, quickly in the beginning of the video, I don't know how my uploading schedule is going to look for the next 4 weeks. I'm now off work on my summer break, my annual leave, and I will be reading a lot, but I'm also going to be in the garden and, just bumming around, relaxing. So may not always want to be not necessarily the filming part, but the editing part. Like I don't know if I want to be on the computer putting these videos together. I almost forgot. I'm gonna take part in Audiomiles. So there is a book for Audiomiles for July and August, and it's a thriller by what's her name? Slaughter. I'll put it here. So I'm really looking forward to having something different. It's been a while since I read a really good thriller. So, or like a thriller. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And that I'm gonna have that book on the go when I go for my walks and my runs and stuff like that. And also maybe if I'm doing things in the garden, because we have a lot of things we are planning to do in the garden if the weather allows. But apart from that, I don't know really how the uploading thing is gonna look like. But just know that I am reading, and I'm gonna be trying to watch booktube as well and like comment and stuff like that. But my videos might be a little bit scattered. Anyway, I'm sure you don't mind. I hope you are having a good day, a good week, a good month, and see you when I see you. Bye bye.